The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. On the way to Jerusalem, Jesus was going through the region between Samaria and Galilee. As he entered a village, 10 lepers approached him. Keeping their distance, they called out, saying, "Jesus, Master, have mercy on us." When Jesus saw them, he said to them, "Go and show yourselves to the priests." As they went, they were made clean. Then one of them, when he saw that he was healed, turned back, praising God with a loud voice, prostrating himself at Jesus' feet, and thanked him. And he was a Samaritan. Then Jesus asked, "Were not 10 made clean? But the other 9, where are they? Was none of them found to return and give praise to God except this foreigner?" Then Jesus said to the Samaritan, "Get up and go on your way. Your faith has made you well." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord.
In today's Gospel, Jesus expresses disappointment that although he had healed 10 of leprosy, only 1 came back. And leprosy was a major illness in that time. There was no cure. It was a dreadful disease, disfigured a person, a slow death, painful. It also ostracized the person from the community because ritually it made the person unclean. They could not worship in the temple. They were separated. And yet the one who came back was a Samaritan. And so he was doubly ostracized because the Samaritans were considered half-breeds, more pagan than Jew, and they were rejected by the Jews. And so they would not be, just by the fact that they were Samaritans, accepted. So now he was twice in a real difficult state. And yet now, because he knows he's been healed, he comes and he thanks Jesus. Now, before we be too severe in judgment, we have to look at our own lives, because actually we've been healed of something far greater than physical illness. We've been healed spiritually of sin, both original sin and our actual sins when we've expressed forgiveness. God has set up an entire sacrament so that we can be healed. So we need to ask ourselves, how have we responded to this far greater healing? Have we come back to Jesus daily and thanked him? One good thing about the Catholic faith is that it always brings us back to the center. And the source and center or summit of our faith is the Eucharist. And the Eucharist is a Greek word for thanksgiving. And so the fact that we are here today, this morning, means that we have been brought back to the center because we're here to thank God. That's essentially what the Mass is. It's a thanksgiving. We bring our needs and our realization that God has been active in our lives, and we give thanks. We express it in the way that we respond. We come to Mass prepared, recollected, knowing why we're here. We participate in the prayers. We listen actively to the Word, which is God's Word. And then we open our hearts and be receptive to his real presence in the Eucharist. And as we do, something far greater happens. Because when we make Thanksgiving the center of our lives, we ourselves are made more whole. We find ourselves less stressed, more peaceful. Because we're not focusing on those things that formerly caused us aggravation and hurt and stress, but now we're focusing on God. And God is peace through and through. From that position then, being brought back to the center, out of that peace and thanksgiving we go out and we express that to others who are struggling. And we invite them back to the center of a life of thanksgiving. Now that is wisdom. It's the first reading from the Book of Wisdom in one of the Old Testament books. And in this particular first reading, the author says that those who have been given authority will be held accountable to how they used it. Now, it's first of all reference to those who have great authority, kings and judges and so on. But that was the Old Testament. In the New Testament, each of us, are kings and rulers, in a real sense because of our baptism. We share in the priest, prophet, and ministry of Christ. Priest, prophet, and king. With that authority, then, we're going to be held accountable to how we have exercised judgment over what really counts, which is our interior life. Do we have authority over our emotions, our passions? Or do our passions and emotions rule us? In today's first reading, the exhortation is to learn wisdom. It says, those who have will find a defense. Therefore, set your desire on my words, long for them, and you will be instructed. That defense is exactly what I've been saying, that peace, that calm, that assurance, hope, that Christ lives in us. And with Christ in us, who can be against us? How do we exercise that wisdom and peace? We go out into the world, into our community, our families, and the responsorial psalmist gives us the instruction. Give justice to the weak and the orphan. Maintain the right of the lowly and the destitute. Rescue the weak and the needy. Deliver them from the hand of the wicked. There's the whole program. And we thank God that we have been instructed this morning through these readings. Let's now open our hearts to the peace that comes when we receive Christ, body, blood, soul, and divinity, and be assured that God is in us. And with God in us, we conquer all things.